Tokyo Ghoul Season 2 is trash.
Tokyo Ghoul was originally a manga adapted into 2 seasons. The story revolves around some wimp called Kaneki, who was unluckily attacked by a ghoul called Rize. Ghouls are basically humans that feed on other humans. They can't eat regular food like humans except coffee for some reason, and they have superpowers and shit. Long story short, after this attack, they operate on Kaneki by putting the organs of the ghoul that attacked him into his body, turning him into a half human, half ghoul. So the first season kind of focuses on Kaneki coming to terms with the fact that he's a full-fledged ghoul now. Besides some of the issues I have with the premise, like how putting ghoul organs into a human being basically turns them into a full-fledged ghoul. But it's one of those things you have to overlook because anime. The first season was meh. It was okay, I guess. Some of the animation was really good. My issue was the anime was way too fast paced, but overall it was pretty decent. I'd recommend the manga over it, but I wouldn't say avoid it because it had its moments, and the song for the opening is great. I still listen to that shit. The second season, on the other hand, it's booty butt cheeks. First off, what Studio Period did was kind of change the direction the story went to, which is fine. In my opinion, it's always good to have a different take on the story, and it was the only thing that really piqued my interest to even check out the second season, just to see the direction it was trying to take. So, in the first season, Kaneki gets brutally tortured by a dangerous ghoul group called the Aogiri Tree. In the second season, instead of going back to the coffee shop and Teiku with Toka, he decides to join that same group that tortured him. That's like a Jew who survived the horrors of the Holocaust deciding to become a fucking Nazi. Logically, it makes no damn sense. I know this is a different take from the manga, but fuck it. In the manga, Kaneki creates his own group with Tsukiyama, Hinami, and Banjo. That made a lot more sense than this fucking nonsense. And with Kaneki pulling a Kevin Durant and joining the Aogiri Tree, the anime ends up cutting out some of the most iconic moments in the manga and replacing them with absolutely fuck all. For example, the fight between Ayato and Kaneki. This fight was more than just entertaining. It was a harsh lesson for Ayato to quit his rebellious attitude and break away from the group he doesn't belong in because he still cares for his sister Toka. And as a result of this, Kaneki beats him half to death by breaking half of the bones in his body. Oh, and yeah, none of this is in the anime. In fact, they end up teaming up, completely destroying any additional character development Ayato could have had. But hey, it's a different take from the manga, so changes like that should be expected, right? No! They actually changed very little from the manga. In fact, the only thing they really changed from the manga was Kaneki joining the Aogiri Tree instead of making his own group. Literally, that's it! Other than that, for the most part, it takes the exact same direction as the manga. The only difference is that they cut out some of the best parts of the manga, like Ayato versus Kaneki. Kaneki versus Shachi was there, but it was fucking shite. And oh yeah, did you know in the manga we were actually shown the battle between Kaneki and Arima? But instead of spending the last 6 to 7 minutes of the last episode showing the fight, they decided to use that time to show Kaneki walking for a good core of the fucking episode. Like, I haven't watched this shit in like 2 years and I still get mad thinking about it. And I'm not even saying the manga is just this perfect masterpiece, because it isn't. It has its own issues, like how I don't give two shits about any of the Ghoul investigators. And the Tokyo Ghoul Re-manga, which is basically a time skip from the original Tokyo Ghoul, for the most part it's mediocre at best because it focuses more on the shitty ghoul investigators instead of the fucking ghouls themselves, but that's a whole other video for another day. But at least it's still worth following. The anime adaptation for the second season of Tokyo Ghoul, on the other hand, is one of the worst anime adaptations I've ever fucking seen. The animation was for the most part mediocre or straight up bad, and don't even get me started with the fucking opening. Remember when I was talking about how great the opening for the first season was? Yeah, the second season has one of the worst openings I've ever fucking seen. Like shit. If they couldn't think of a better opening than this, they should have just taken the Log Horizon or the Hunter x Hunter out and just used the same motherfucking song with a different animation. Not only does the song suck, the fucking animation for the opening is complete garbage as well. All they show in the opening is Kaneki's fucking face for a minute and a half.
But Stoner, You don't understand. The opening shows all the different emotions Kaneki is feeling.
Fucking nonsense. So you're telling me they couldn't show this in a more dynamic and appealing way? All this opening does is give you more of an incentive to skip it. Shit. Tokyo Ghoul Season 2 was such a complete nosedive from the first season, and the worst thing about that is that the first season wasn't even that fucking good. The first season was trying to squeeze way too much into 12 episodes. The first season covered 66 chapters in the manga. That's about 5.5 chapters an episode. That's way too many chapters an episode. So what happens is a lot of things get rushed or glossed over, but for the most part, the first season was at least watchable. The second season had the same issue with pacing. It attempts to cover the remaining 75 chapters, hence why they've skipped so much shit and why it felt so choppy. It didn't know whether it wanted to be a direct adaptation or have its own independent take of the Tokyo Ghoul story. To be honest, the Tokyo Ghoul adaptation as a whole by Studio Period sucked, and if you want to get the full fleshed out story of Tokyo Ghoul, just read the fucking manga. And if you don't want to read the manga, you best appreciate the steam pile of shit, because this is the best you're gonna get. I give this shower of shite a tramp stamp of 0 out of 10. This is the Tasteless Stoner, and I'm motherfucking out.